It's Thursday, baby, and a bit of a thirsty Thursday over here as Bitcoin continue on with the downside that we were looking for yesterday in the more short term. Now, again, short term not to be confused with long term. Obviously, a lot more things need to be happening for that to be a little bit more applicable. But we're going to go over kind of the likely scenario here for Thursday, and other than that, I actually want to give a quick shout out over here to the Crypto Fight Night account over on Twitter, posting up some good old promotional videos, some promotional materials, which was actually hilarious recording, because they had like very specific lines that they wanted me to say in reactions. And then unfortunately, I just let this one slip. So if you've already seen it, well, there you go. And if you haven't seen it, well, there you go as well. Anyways, let's just jump right into it, starting off with Bitcoin, a continuation of yesterday's analysis. We were looking at the daily HPDR range as showing the current balancing point just around 27,000 bucks, meaning that Bitcoin closed below it. Very likely we do see a continuation of downside. Now, my opinion yesterday was short-term downside, and that was, well, I guess that's kind of what we did see. Can this continue more? Yeah, absolutely. Essentially, as long as Bitcoin is now below the average of the range for the 50%, which is basically yesterday's high at 27,500, risk does remain to the downside. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't pop back above there, but in the more near-term, probabilities will favor the downside, as we'll go over, not just with this, but also a little bit later. Now, the bottom side of the current 50% range lows is now coming in about 25,400. So I'm not necessarily saying that Bitcoin's going to get all the way down around there, but anywhere within this region right here is probably fair game. I'll just kind of draw it in with a stupid LARP line. So there we go. Also, by contrast, Bitcoin can reclaim that 27.5 region, or really just trade back above yesterday's high is probably good enough as well. Closure is obviously going to be better. I would be looking for Bitcoin to march back above 29,000 bucks, probably closer to 29.2 and beyond. And then, of course, long-term, I would switch on to bearish, more long-term, not short-term, but long-term, if Bitcoin were to really start to close below about 25.4, or even just trade below September lows. One of those two things would do it for me. And at that point, have to entertain the possibilities and probabilities of Bitcoin trading all the way down to 23,000 bucks. Until then, however, I still do look at this as probably another opportunity, probably just a little bit of a test as things get more and more boring within the heart of October, which is just unfortunate. Anyway, well, unfortunate for the people who actually want to be trading. It's fortunate for the people who want to be doing nothing, but then again, it's fucking boring no matter which way you cut it, man. Anyways, we can now get into the daily stats for Bitcoin on Thursday. Today, Thursday, is traditionally speaking the most bearish day for Bitcoin, meaning that it has the highest probability of closing negatively at 37.5% compared with everything else, which is either in the 40s, or Tuesday, which is 60% plus. Obviously, we didn't see shit on Tuesday. In fact, we saw some downside on Tuesday. So Thursday, in this case, if we are going to see continuation of the downside, it would most likely happen today. And the average for those losses on Thursday was, for only, if we look at only days that lose, it would be negative 1.86%. So I'm curious what that would look like subtracted from the open, and that would put Bitcoin basically at like low 26,000 bucks. Just if we're going off of average, obviously there's going to be a lot of variance within this. Un momento, as I do deal with the eggs in the background. One moment here. Eggs have been flipped and fried and fertilized, and yeah, just back on topic. It would make sense, statistically speaking, that Bitcoin is going to continue the downside. Not only did we see that daily HPDR range break, but also Thursday, the most likely to trade to the downside as well. Anyways, moving on now, we can get into stochastic momentum. I do want to start off with the 5-day right here. This would probably be the most concerning thing for me. Like, if I'm going to really create a pretty nasty bearish case, this would be it. This is not my main disposition, by the way, but this would be it if I had to really line it out. If this started to happen, I mean, this would be concerning for sure. But the 5-day time frame is closing tonight. We still see that there's extreme lows on volatility on the BBWP indicator. I mean, some of the lowest lows ever, basically, or among the lowest lows ever. And in this case, we will see that the 5-day stochastic oscillator does continue to the upside as long as Bitcoin's closing above 25,750 or so. But depending upon how far Bitcoin comes down today and closes, maybe that does get violated, and that could be an early warning signal that, yeah, this low will break. I'm not on the same side as that for several reasons. I always keep on going back to that hash Ribbons indicator. I mean, funnily enough, it has been working. So in this case, I don't really have anything to change right there. But yeah, that would look pretty nasty if Bitcoin did close below that pivot, or especially even below like 25.4, 25.5 region. That's where things start to fall apart, I do believe. Until then, I still look at this as likely a higher low in the making. I know the Herpender people are going to say that this is a head and shoulders right here. Not really. I mean, it looks pretty fucking ugly with your left shoulder as high as your head. Maybe it's Quasimodo. I don't know. But ultimately, I don't really care about patterns, to be honest with you. Anyways, 2-day time frame we do see is actually going to be freshly crossing the downside. So to be fair, a little bit concerning right there. Going to be showing downside momentum as long as Bitcoin's below about $28,000, currently trading more than $1,000 below that pivot. Daily time frame also going to be nosediving below $28,000, so same number coming in right there. 12-hour time frame is also going to be down below 27,200. 6-hour time frame also actually going to be popping up above 26,720, but does look kind of weak there, to be fair. 4-hour time frame is also up above 26,720, also looking a little bit weak there as well. And hourly is going to be actually up above 26,700 as well. So very, very low term time frames might have a bit of a bounce. If that bounce does reclaim back above yesterday's high, then yeah, that would actually really start to look good on this as being another higher low on the daily. But for right now, I would say that risk and momentum favors the downside in the more near term. So anyways, is there anything else that I wanted to say? Yeah, just on the same topic, I did want to go over the weekly just really, really quickly right here. It does need to be said that Bitcoin thus far is still getting rejected at that white 200 symbol on the weekly time frame. So if I am making a bearish case, I'd also be a part of it. There is some phantom drives of regular bearish divergence. I don't look at these as like major continuation plays, however, but probably good enough to get back down to those prior range lows. So yeah, it's kind of what I'm leaning towards. It's very interesting though. We've been following on this channel Dixie and traditional markets, and Dixie continues on with the reversal. That was a pretty easy call. I shouldn't say easy call, but, that was a pretty high probability call. NASDAQ continues on with its reversal. And again, another high probability call right here as well. These two markets are the easier ones to be looking at right now, not Bitcoin. Bitcoin's doing fuck all. NAS looks like it's just about ready to break out to prior highs. And Dixie looks like it's ready to continue on with at least this short-term / medium-term pullback down to like 105, maybe even 104.5. And then we'll come back to it after that. But just not really relevant to Bitcoin, it seems like. It doesn't really seem that these markets have been correlated for a while, and maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. I mean, I think it's just boring. It's what it is. I think at this point you probably want them to be correlated, at least if you enjoy more fun action. Maybe you enjoy sandpaper in life. Fair enough, I do too. And I think on that note, I'll be signing off. A nice and short and sweet one, just a long way of saying, hey, 27.5 to the upside. Bulls reclaim that. All right, good. Until then, risk remains to the downside. Presumably, probably at least somewhere low 26s. But even then, could very easily trade into this same area right here. Just problems start to occur either below September lows or closing below about 25.4. I think I'll leave things on that note. We'll come back to a little bit later, probably in for some more boring times. There you go. Much love. Take care. Take care. Much love. Much love. Take care. My brain ain't working. With that said, I'd like to wish you the best. Take care. Much love. No, much love. Take care. And see you hopefully derp.